Okay, here we go.
Hello.
My name is Božidar, and welcome to our fifth episode of State of Insecurity, our podcast that is designed to be for everyone because cybersecurity should not be an enterprise feature. Today we are talking about the firewall to a job, or how to navigate the cybersecurity career maze. Today we have guests. Our guests are Dejan Zendelov, Network Director at A1 Macedonia, part of I think Dejan, help me.
Telecom Austria or AMX,
AMX.
America Mobile
Okay.
Group.
And we have Aleksandar Radicheski, Talent Acquisition Manager at RL Datix. I hope I didn't butcher the name of the company. It's quite difficult to pronounce. And they're going to
No, you
be
did it right.
our HR and our hiring manager. And together we are going to go through an interesting research and some painful topics and questions about careers in cybersecurity or careers in tech in general. So with this little intro, I'm going to first of all ask our audience to join us on our Discord, where we share ideas on cybersecurity, share a lot of memes, and we investigate live issues. We have also a red team now, people that have gathered and collaborate together, and they are all working essentially to help each other get better at cybersecurity. So congrats to our team on a couple of wins in the past week or so. For today's session, we have a Slido, which is a platform where you can ask questions. You can ask them anonymously, and you can vote up or vote down the questions that are already there. And we are going to try to answer as many of the questions at the end of the session, but we'll go from the top voted down. So if you want your question to be first, call up some friends and let's start voting up. Yes, I know this shouldn't be happening, but really, do we care? So again, welcome to our guests, Aleksandar, Dejan. Maybe a couple of words from you.
Okay, I will start as an older person, probably. I'm Dejan Zendelov. I'm working as a network director in A1 Macedonia, as Božidar mentioned, part of Telecom Austria or America Mobile Group. Almost 20 years in telco business, and practically it was me who started to dealing with this cybersecurity story in telco environment in the previous 5 years ago. And somehow I reached to some point, but it was also quite brand new to me. And now I'm trying to continue with this let me say excursion on this in this area.
Okay, so I think you're going to be very valuable in terms of how you manage to, let's say, find people and work with them and grow with them. Aleksandar, something from you.
Yeah, definitely. I go by Alex on English because I
Okay,
believe it's
we'll do
slightly
Alex.
easier for people to pronounce. Yeah, so I bring more than 14 years of experience within the talent acquisition world. I'm part of RL Datix as the talent acquisition manager, responsible for the recruitment within the Europe, because we have multiple locations throughout the Europe. And yeah, I will be the recruiter today, I guess, on the call.
And we'll need you, definitely. Thank you. So, with that being said, our first topic, cybersecurity, is it a catch-22 job? Because there's this perception, and I'm sad to say that too many people, including myself, expect this for an entry-level position in cybersecurity. We are hiring, obviously, recent college grads, but there are terrible or terrifying requirements of at least 5 years of experience, some Olympic medals, and obviously required superpowers. So let's start from our hiring manager again, from Dan. What do you think? Are we in a position where actually we are requiring, even for an entry-level position, so many experience? Or is really a cybersecurity role an advanced role, or can somebody's first job be in cybersecurity?
Definitely, everyone can start with cybersecurity. I mean, it's like every other job. However, depends on many factors. In which position is the employer? How desperately he needs somebody to deal with cybersecurity, and on the other hand, what will be the offer on the market with the people who are really ready to jump into the cybersec story. Definitely, it's always a balance of this offer and requirement. But I would say that when we, at least me personally, when I started the story, to build at least some kind of cybersec environment in the company, you are just seeing what the market can offer you. Even me personally, I was not aware what really I need by that time. Now I'm quite aware that in nowadays, what should be the some, at least some initial requirements that we need from the people. It is always the balance between the budget of the position and the offer on the market. So I mean, I'm saying this as a hiring manager. Of course, if you are ready to offer quite a good salary, you will always find a good expert. But it's always a kind of.
So you're not requiring Olympic medals and superpowers, right?
You are always starting with this.
Oh, okay.
But then you will come to the point when you understand that you cannot get Olympic winner, but you'll get something. Depends again on the budget of the position. What you are requiring. It's a balance.
Okay.
It's always a balance. I'm speaking from the side of the hiring manager now.
So, Aleksandar, with that, how do you cope with the superpowers that are not necessary but are expected?
Well, it depends. Sometimes you're going to look to try to find those superpowers, but most of the time you're not finding them. So, how I'm seeing on this is like, yeah, definitely you can start your career in the cybersecurity, but on the other side, if you would like to start it, there's also need to be like market demand for you to actually be able to start that. So if you have enough companies who are dealing with the cybersecurity and they already have like established teams within their organization, they will be able to absorb you. But if the field is so new, for example, maybe on the Macedonian market is so new, then you wouldn't expect that you will start directly in the cybersecurity, because again, you will maybe be able and need to be able to build up additional skills or transferable skills, as we're calling them, in order to get inside the cybersecurity. So it depends. It's like you're looking for the superpowers, but also you need to have certain superpowers inside the business so you're able to attract them from outside of the business.
Okay, makes sense. So from my perspective, as let's say in the middle of all this, as the CISO of a company, realistically, I very much am aligned with what Alex is saying about the expectations versus abilities of this of the industry altogether. That being said, if there is a mature industry, essentially for any entry-level position, whatever the role it is, you need somebody to guide you. You need a set of processes that you can start working on and learn forward from that. If there is a structure already in place, it's going to absorb you, as you gentlemen very well put it, and it's going to lead you. That's going to take you by the hand. It's going to show you. It's going to give you opportunities to learn, make mistakes, and grow. That's a great position. If there is such an opening position, then you can start in cybersecurity. Usually, and we'll come back to this in the burnout part of our discussion, those are quite a burnout type of positions early on, like SOC analyst and some kind of auditor, but we'll come back to that one. From where I'm sitting right now, we have some positions in cybersecurity that are, let's say, entry level, but they do require some experience simply because it is not a very mature or not an industry that has a very large team in place in most companies. So everybody's expecting too many things from the same people. Hence, even the junior positions are not really a junior position. Your best case scenario to enter as a junior position is find somebody that is already working, that is very senior and experienced and needs help with everything. And then you suddenly have a mentor for everything. And you can quickly learn. Other than that, it's a process and you have to live with it, or you have to start somewhere else and then migrate onto cybersecurity. So with that catch-22 out of the way, our main slide of the day, essentially it's a research by Cyberseek. And I must thank Tatiana Jovanovska-Sonberger for this. She very generously pointed this research to me so we can have this discussion. And essentially this research is a trigger for this session. And this Cyberseek research draws a very nice map with a lot of details and a lot of research of what are the, let's say, generic set of roles in cybersecurity and some paths, as you can see on the screen here, between them. And obviously there are some things on the left called the feeder roles, and I'm going to very briefly go through some of them, but just for everyone, this link here that you're seeing is already in the description of our video, so you can look it up, open it, and research it yourself. But it's not just a diagram. For any of these positions, when we click on it, you can get a bunch of new valuable material. So I'm going to specifically point you towards these top future skills. So if you're interested in some of these roles, you point to that role and you check what are the top future skills that will be expected from this position. So like threat hunting, risk management frameworks, knowledge of risk management, threat intelligence, threat response, network firewalls, phishing. Even in today's cloud, still network firewalls are obviously very important and will be. And for another position, then there is CM, security event management, anomaly detection. This is obviously the incident or SOC analyst position. And as you click forward, you're going to see all these things. So I definitely recommend everybody to check out this role. Also, top certifications requested. We are going to talk about certifications later, but these are some guidelines for you. Some of these, obviously, for the senior positions are going to be very ambitious, as you can see, like CISSP or GIAC or GISM. For the more junior positions, there will be something like CompTIA, and CISSP is a bit too much for this. But these are the things that we're going to, again, discuss later that are weird about certifications in the field. Again, what I wanted to mention, and I think we already touched on that, is there are feeder roles. Obviously, for every single position here, you can actually read a job description. So this is very useful for hiring managers and for HR people to try to tune their own position and job description. This is very helpful. And then you can say, I wanted the unicorn. And then HR asks you, what is the color of the horn of the unicorn? And then okay, I don't need really a horn on the unicorn, so we can have a horse instead. That's where we are. With this diagram, we're going to come back and forth to this diagram, but this is the basis of everything. What I wanted to ask our audience, and let's start with Alex now. We're seeing several feeder roles. So we have for cybersecurity specialist, networking, system engineer, security, which is physical security, even financial risk and IT support. And then for incident management, more or less the same situation. For IT auditor, a subset. So given that, what do you see as the, let's say, background that tends to provide the strongest foundation for success, whether it is specifically for cybersecurity or general engineering success?
If we talk about the cybersecurity at first place, I would agree with what you're sharing on the screen, due to the fact that throughout the experience that I have in dealing with these kind of roles, predominantly the people that are coming into the cybersecurity, they have some previous knowledge from the networking part and the systems engineering. But I'm speaking about the local Macedonian market. Globally, it might be a different picture as we are seeing it in here, but locally for us, a lot of people that are even starting maybe entry-level roles into the cybersecurity, they used to be part of the network or they used to be part of the system engineering. So yeah, that's my view on it, and that's from where we are, for example, sourcing the candidates needed for these particular roles.
So which one for you are the best? Or let's say
the networking
the easiest?
and the systems engineering.
So networking and systems.
And also Systems engineering, yeah.
Okay, so that systems engineering from where I'm sitting essentially, because as much like Dejan, I'm over 20 years in this field, which can easily be seen by the lack of hair on my head. Dejan has advantage on me on that one.
I don't have the
Yeah. So I would say what used to be systems engineering today is also partly DevOps. Many DevOps people will now will cry foul. I'm sorry, guys and girls, but at the end of the day, you're managing systems, whether you're doing it through automation and scripts or just sitting in front of the computer, it's still managing a server. So systems engineering / DevOps is a powerful position. It gives you a lot of knowledge and a lot of pain. And then you can transfer that into cybersecurity and say, if we do this, it's going to hurt us then and then and then, and I don't want to hurt this. So it's a good position to be in. Dan, your views, best options for career progression?
Well, first, practically the situation where we have 5 or more feeder positions that can provide us with the cybersecurity specialists or engineers is giving us the information how wide is this cybersecurity area and how wide area of complexity it is covering. So practically you have security. You have security in database. You have security in the software development. You have security in the networking. You have security in sysadmin. And speaking about my telco environment, you even have security in telco.
Very much so.
Signalization, practically something very old, some very closed world, for example, where you are not so much open as the internet world. But yet again, here you need to cover also this aspect of the security, of the cybersecurity, smishing or queuing or whatever events that are happening even nowadays and are very, attractive all over. They're also covering and they are belonging to this cybersecurity area. So what I want to say that you can always from each of these areas you can drop into cybersecurity. Yes, definitely. However, my point of view, I will also support here Aleksandar. Networking is, the people coming from the networking part, I think that are they or maybe sysadmins, but networking are the people who started dealing with this internet open world. As I said, internet world, practically the rule is you are open to everything, and then you are closing the access by firewalls, access lists, whatever. And they started by thinking in their mind how to limit the access towards my infrastructure, towards my equipment, towards my network, or at least how to control this access. And this is maybe how they, at least according to my opinion, maybe they started first initially to think in this security aspects, to cover these security aspects. Of course, also sysadmins are for me also developers. I am not dealing with them too much, but still, however, they need to also to think about this topic, about this security approach. And of course, they are quite a good potential. But of course, again, saying that from each of these areas you can access cybersecurity is also providing us the input, the information that this is a very wide area, and cybersecurity definitely is covering a lot of topics and a lot of questions that needs to be covered.
Yeah. And on that topic, as you mentioned, and I made a little bit of a mess with sharing this particular extra item, Veritasium, the video channel that is quite scientific, actually made a video in which they showed how they can hack SS7, signaling system 7, which is the phone network, old but very powerful and very, let's say, reliable historically protocol.
It's closed system practically.
Yeah, but it's still in use, very much so. And they showed how they are going to, they have hacked it. So for everyone watching us, go to Veritasium on YouTube and find how Veritasium hacked Linus. And it's an interesting video to watch. So going on to our next item, let's call it. Now I'm going to click here in the middle of this diagram, and it shows little career paths from cybersecurity specialist to analyst, consultant, penetration tester, and cybercrime, and incident and intrusion auditor, etc., etc. All these pathways then going to advanced level like cybersecurity manager, engineer, architect, etc. What I wanted to ask both of you guys is what is the path of progression in terms of a timeline? When should candidates coming either from a feeder role or from an entry-level role in any position of cybersecurity expect to progress to a mid-level to an advanced level position? This is a very, I would say, painful topic because people are sometimes very ambitious and they expect that they are going to progress very quickly. There are companies that facilitate that. There are situations that facilitate that, but that is not the case always. So I think it's a valuable perspective to for the audience to understand how this side of the table looks at it. So, Alex, again, let's start with you.
Yeah. Well, why not? I believe the three of us on this call, we are like all managers and having like direct reports to us. So it doesn't matter if we're speaking about the cybersecurity or any other like typical career. How we are seeing or how I'm seeing on it is like there are always two sides of the coin. So on the one side, you will have a lot of ambitious people who will like to progress very fast, and on the other side, you will have people that are happy in what they're doing and how they're doing, and maybe not interested to actually progress so fast. So it's up to the manager who is leading those people to identify the high potential people within the team, to design a path for them and to guide them to the path. So timeline wise, it always depends on the person. It always will be like based on the one case at a time, because there will not be two identical people in the progress. So people who are doing fast, who are progressing fast, keep them challenged, put them to the next level, give them more work to do, and then like reward that with the next level role. That might happen, I don't know, within a year, within 2 years. There are some examples where people were progressing just after 6 months. But also on the other side, when you have people who are like, okay, where they are, they will maybe gradually progress to the next level in the next couple of years. But also you need to create an environment for those people to be able to thrive in what they're doing and gradually to motivate them to go to the next level, gradually to build up that, let's say, hunger for them to go to the next level. Because sometimes for those that are not like so, let's say, ambitious, if you show them the right path, if you show them where they can get and what they can do, they'll get there.
Okay. So you just said it depends in so many words.
Always. Like whatever we start talking about, whatever the question is, it always depends on the person that is on the other side of the table. At least this is my view. Dan, maybe I'm wrong.
Dan, big corporation.
Completely agree with you. Practically, it's like any other job. I mean, it's always depends from two factors. One factor is the employee itself, who is depends from his or her ambitions, of his or his now I'm staying without my vocabulary. So it's always the ambition of the candidate, and on the one hand, and on the other hand, the employer and the circumstances that the company created for the employee. So if you, for example, if you have an employee who just dropped into the cybersec world without anyone to guide him, to lead him, to mentor him, you cannot expect good results, of course. But on the other hand, it's also dependable from the employee who has to show up some more initiative, some more ambition, interest for following the problematic, the topics, the following the. I mean, there are many ways. We will speak probably later how you should follow everything that is happening in the cybersecurity world. And if you have this ambition, definitely the results will be here from both sides.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to touch on a different, and I'm going to try to answer and essentially lead us into the next question. Advancement in, let's say, from where I sit, probably this has happened to me, although I can't say it for myself because it has been happening to me, so somebody else would have to say it. But progression in this industry, this cybersecurity, usually the entry level, and unless you're very specifically focused like an architect position or a penetration tester, most of the other progression positions like analyst, manager, engineer, etc., consultant definitely, require an extra layer on top of the technical skills. So it's not just about knowing stuff and being great at stuff. It's also about having the soft skills, the communication skills, let's say the people management skills or the people coordination skills that are going to get you into the next position. Because as you progress towards the higher tiers in cybersecurity, it is much less technical. It is a lot more meetings and a lot more working with people who are going to say no, or persuading people about budget, or persuading people to do something that is more difficult for them because they don't want to to make their lives more difficult. So what I'm seeing is advancement can be very fast. Advancement can be very slow, depending much on the organization and its culture and its structure, obviously, but also very much depending not just on the technical capabilities of a candidate. There is a joke principle called the Dilbert principle. We'll link it in the description. That says, by the way, Dilbert is a comic that is a parody of corporate technical life. The Dilbert principle briefly says everyone progresses until a position in which they're incompetent. So all your bosses, and all three of us here are bosses, are essentially incompetent. That's the comic, that's the joke. But in reality, as you progress, you need to shift to different skills. Showing those skills earlier may be a good way for you to be recognized as a person that can progress more quickly. Of course, if the company allows for that, if there is a position open for that, everything may be perfect and still there may be no open positions. So sadly, that's the reality of stuff. So in that context, Dan, coming back to you, soft skills, how valuable are they and where do they become valuable from your perspective?
Of course, very important, because once you enter, for example, in an IT company, at least in telco company like mine, you have to deal with the IT people. You have to understand that in such a companies, security guys are always the ones who are creating more job to everybody else. You have to make this kind of configuration in order to be protected. You have to make this kind of protections, this kind of backups, right? So each and every of these security employees is always creating more job, and at least this is how they are perceived, that they're always creating more problems to everybody else. And so practically dealing with this kind of approach from the other side, you have to have these soft skills, communication skills, in order to deal with there is always personalities in each and every IT engineer, so you have to deal with them. and to somehow structure them and to guide them towards the right direction as from the security point of view. So definitely, of course, it also depends from the position where you're entering, but definitely, I think that communication skills are practically the most fundamental, at least for the entrance. Or later on, of course, practical skills are coming up, and they're something that is very important. But I think that we will cover that later with the later questions.
Yeah, Alex, how do you find soft skills? Do you find soft skills?
Extremely important, because like even when you're at the beginning of your career, you need to impress the people who are hiring you. If you don't have, let's say, too much of the hard skills, you need to impress them to make a decision to hire you. So I will always rely on the like soft skills part, because you need to communicate with other people. You need to know how to say good things for you, but also how to say no to certain things when you're part of the business. So after they hire you, yeah, as Dan mentioned, you'll have to deal with many different stakeholders within the business, and you need to figure it out that with the communication, because there is a saying that the communication is the biggest problem in all the, let's say, challenges that we're facing throughout our working career. And also, when we were speaking about that, about the cybersecurity, you guys know that I had issues with like Discord. So I had to speak with my people internally within the IT team, and they helped me out to figure it out how we can make it work. So yeah, their communication skills were awesome. And here we are today speaking about that.
Am I allowed to show the meme?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay. Hold on.
What I said to you, I fixed that? No, I didn't.
Yes,
they did.
Hold on. This was interesting. I don't know if it's going to share. Maybe not. Okay. No, it won't. Okay. So sadly,
David Beckham meme from his documentary. So yeah, you might know. He's talking to Victoria saying, "Are you sure?
Yeah.
About it?
Be honest.
Be honest." Oh, yeah, that one.
We can't paste it here. It doesn't allow me to paste the file directly. But oh well. Moving on then into our next item, which is shifting gear a little bit. What about people from the outside of the technical world? We have people from financial risk analysis, people from legal that can, let's say, very easily transition into cybersecurity, into some roles of cybersecurity. But cybersecurity, for better or worse, is still a lot of technical items. However many people want to say not all cybersecurity is technical, and non-technical people can easily do cybersecurity. All good and fine, but at the end of the day, you still need to understand what the technical person is telling you. And even if you're not just as good as they are, but you still need some technical skills. And that's really the answer, my answer to this question. But coming back, we'll start with Alex. Moving for people that are not from a technical background, whether it's legal, whether it's financial, whether it's something else, what skill gaps should they prioritize to get into a successful transition towards a tech position?
As we mentioned, the communication skills are always the most important one. So I am seeing, and I have seen people doing the transition from non-technical to the technical roles. But what I'm seeing a lot is that they need to get additional technical education, formal, non-formal, in terms of courses. We're going to talk about this later, of course. But if you go without it, and if you expect that you will be successful, you're lying to yourself, because maybe not at the first day at work, but down the line, you will face with a technical terminology and technical like stuff that you have no idea what they're doing about, what they're talking about, or what the details are behind it. So for these non-technical people, I'm highly advising to try to get some technical knowledge, even on a high level, because that technical knowledge at the high level, together with their curiosity, will help them to excel on the role. It won't be easy, guys. I'm the one example. I'm a non-technical person. I want to learn some technical stuff. I'm not good at it to a certain point, but to a certain point, I must know about it because I'm part of the IT industry.
Hey, you fixed the firewall.
I did. I asked someone to fix it for me.
That's also a skill. Dejan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, coming from another area, starting to dealing with cybersec, first you need to start with the networking fundamentals practically. You need to understand how all the network protocols, how the devices are communicating, IP addressing, network devices, everything that is the surrounding area for the cybersecurity. And then once you get into the networking part, then you also need to approach to the core concepts of the security, of the cybersecurity, confidentiality, integrity, this CIA triad and things like this that are quite general, but definitely you need to start living with this in order to understand the cybersecurity topics. And again, of course, also in parallel, you need to cover for example, the legal and the compliance area, the legal and compliance knowledge that is needed to understand the cybersecurity laws, because all these laws and regulations and standards are quite intensive nowadays. They're becoming even very popular with the whole situation on a global level that is happening on the global level. And you will see a push from each and every side you need to understand what is ISO 27001. Definitely, I mean, if you want to start dealing with the cybersecurity.
Now you need to also know DORA and NIS2 and a bunch of
DORA,
others.
yes. I mean, this was the one that is coming out to my mind initially, but definitely, first the networking, let me say, part needs to be covered. Then also the cybersecurity fundamentals, and then the legal and all the other knowledge. As I said, it's quite a wide area that we are speaking about. Cybersecurity needs to cover many segments of the networking world that is surrounding us today.
So, with that, let's go to interviews. And this is our second topic and an appropriate comic for everyone to share. But skipping the comic and back to our questions. First item on the agenda: hiring a candidate or reviewing a candidate. How do you evaluate what is more important in this process? Formal education, university, versus practical experience versus dedicated courses, just as a reference. And I'm going to take first stab at this one, but just for reference, clicking into any one of our roles here, you can see here requested education. This is a statistic. This doesn't have to be the right answer, but some organizations require some sub-university, very small percentage. Then the majority requires for this cybersecurity analyst bachelor's degree, and some even go to graduate degree. Obviously, people that can pay for that. But I'm going to take a stab at this myself. I'm going to say I value formal education, university education, not as a requirement. I really do not care whether you have the formal education at this point in the industry and in the job market. But I value it as an added bonus simply because university shows that you're able to quickly learn new stuff that you haven't been able to touch ever before. So it shows that you're capable of quickly learning. And this is one of the key elements in this particular industry. As Dejan mentioned, it covers so much stuff across all the industries, and everything is changing so quickly that it is essentially a requirement that you have to learn extremely quickly. Yes, however sad somebody may say or disagree with this, from where I sit, the formal education and the diploma shows at least an indicator that the candidate is capable of quickly learning new things and getting to grips with them. Then, practical experience is obviously important. Dedicated courses, not so much, really. Dedicated courses, from where I sit, are just an introduction to something. It's fine if you have them. It's good that you have taken a focused approach towards a specific topic. But unless we're looking for a very junior position and we're going to work with them forward, the dedicated courses are just an intro towards all your practical experience and ability to learn. So that's where I sit, about mostly practical experience, then education, and at the end, dedicated courses. Alex, what's happening in the HR, in the interview process? How do you feel them? How do you see them?
In the HR world, the interesting fact is we're looking for enthusiasm, but you can't find it out in the CV, right? Because you can't see how some person demonstrates enthusiasm on the CV. So when we are looking for the junior people, based on the CVs and depending on how many applications we are receiving, we are trying to do some kind of filtering at first place. If there are not so many applications, yeah, definitely we're going to invite everyone and actually start asking questions, what they did, how they did. But speaking about the education part, I agree with you. It's not that we're looking for someone who must be a graduate, a bachelor, a master, or whatever. That shows to us, I'm going to agree with you, the same. You have the foundations for something to learn. Maybe you are not good at passing the exams, but maybe you're good at solving problems. So the foundation is always good. Regarding the additional courses, yeah, they're valuable. But they're valuable if you can show examples on how you're going to apply them. Because again, from the recruitment world, we're seeing a lot of people taking a lot of courses and then not being able to demonstrate anything that they have learned out from those courses. So they're becoming less and less important. And the other side, I believe it's practical stuff. Yeah, we are looking for it, of course, because in a case where you are starting your career, you need to, how to put it forward, you need to be in front of everybody else. And they're saying, well, the companies are not offering internships, or they're not doing this, they're not doing that. You can try something on yourself, a pet project at home, a contribution to the Stack Overflow. Show me something that you're different than all the others that we're receiving. So that's from where we're starting always.
Dan?
Well, definitely everything depends again from this what you are requiring and what the market is offering at the very first beginning. I mean, I think that definitely this is a new area, cybersecurity in general, as an expertise, and definitely I think that at least on our market you cannot find fully educated people and that can deal with everything with the cybersecurity, and they are also formally educated. So definitely, I think at the very first beginning, what is valued is the practical expertise, the abilities of the candidate to solve the problems from the cybersecurity area, rather than paying attention to the formal education. Again, I think that this is mostly driven due to the fact that these cybersecurity roles are somehow in a shortage on the global market in general. As the times passes by, I think that this landscape will be changed, but definitely, at least in the previous period, I think mostly the attention was paid to the practical experience that some candidates have. Now, again, speaking about certifications, okay, maybe they're not the crucial one for the candidate, but definitely they're giving you the perception that the candidate pay attention to the cybersecurity, that he started to dealing with this, that he started to thinking in this way. And that's why I think that somehow, at least I am appreciating them, although maybe they're not the crucial one for the candidate and for his success on the interview, but yet for me they're giving some points plus for the particular candidate. And also speaking about the different candidates, usually, I mean, coming from the diverse background, it's a kind of a challenge in each and every area to have another point of view. So have somebody that coming from the legal area and started to dealing with the cybersecurity, definitely it will be good to see his points of view, his way of thinking, of course, after he has made this initial introduction to the
onboarding, let's
technology.
call it.
Yes.
Got it.
So practically, I think that definitely in the very first beginning, and for the maybe for the junior positions or for the mid management position, you don't need to pay attention maybe to this formal education, but yet for the higher level roles and for the architectures, for the consulting, you need to also often to value this formal education and credentials.
Okay, so that puts us very nicely into the next question, which is certifications. And I'm going to come back here to some of the example certifications. This one is for cybersecurity analyst, and it says CISSP. And CISSP is a very big certification. It is quite difficult to achieve. And it is, yet here it is next to CompTIA Security, which is, I would say, an entry-level type of certification. And then some CISA auditor level, which is, again, very advanced certification. So certifications are obviously a huge mess. And if you just click on anyone, on any position here, you're going to see just a bunch of everything and anything in terms of required certifications. But a question, and as you said, Dan, they are valuable. They are, let's say, valued, but are as an indicator of interest. But they also have a, let's call them a problem. Certifications are sometimes a barrier to application. Too many job positions post required or expected certifications. And unfortunately, I have seen so many job positions written by somebody, I can't comment on who they were, that required things like CISSP for an entry-level or a mid-range cybersecurity position. CISSP is not such a certification. But then candidates get filtered out. They can't enter into the door to show their skills because they don't have that particular certification. So position, and I'm going to, from my perspective, certification is nice to have, but I don't necessarily require it or expect it from somebody. Certification, from where I sit, are mostly valuable if the company that is hiring you can sell it. That means that their customers or their regulators, whoever else is out there, requires that they have a person with that particular certification on their team. A lot of RFPs, a lot of procurement processes requires that companies have a person with CISSP. Whether that's relevant or not, nobody really cares. You get to sell the person. So certifications are valuable if there is a requirement that, let's say, explains the reason for having that. Otherwise, it's a nice thing to have, but I would personally move it away from the position, from the job advertisement as a requirement, or even mentioning it, because it simply stops too many people from applying. But I'm going to move to our HR person for this one. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I'll agree with you. It's most of the time they're nice to have, but also I have worked with the organization where we were applying to the RFPs and RFQs that you've just mentioned, and predominantly they have been requested by the government bodies. So you need to have those kind of people on the file if you would like to apply. But if that's not the case, where we're going to first of all use the certification to be sell, like the person and the whole company, then it's nice to have. And if I have a hiring manager, then I'm going to take you as an example because you're the hiring manager today. If you come to me from a perspective that, look, I need this certification, I'm going to do a pushback to you. It's going to be why we need this. You need to tell me why we need this, how we're going to use it, what for we're going to use it. And if you don't give me a valuable reason, I'll be the one advising you to remove it or to put it that it's nice to have. Because throughout my career, I have seen people who are saying, I'm not going to apply for this role. They're asking me to be certified with one of these certifications. When you dig deep a little bit more about the company from where this role is, you can't figure it out why this is needed. So how I'm seeing this is the recruiters who are the front line or who are like boots on the ground between the candidates and the hiring managers. They need to know what the hiring manager wants, but also what the market has. So there always will be pushbacks from us as recruiters towards you as a hiring managers, asking you to remove something because we believe it's not very usable on the market and we're missing a good chunk of people just because of that. But yeah, they are useful. And again, as you said, Božidar, you can't have a certain certification at the beginning of your career because it's so complicated to have it.
Yeah, definitely. So instead of certifications, what about portfolios? What about personal projects? I think Dan mentioned this already, but Dan, would you expand on this? What is, let's say, an ideal project that you would like to see from a candidate? Something that they have worked on themselves?
So definitely, as I said, certifications are of course, but also if you have this, as you said, this portfolios, what you are mentioning, I would here mention participation in any kind of cybersec activities. For example,
CTFs?
Participation in
CTFs, capture the flag.
Not capture the flag, but okay, to be honest, not so deep in this challenge. But for example, participation in some penetration testing, participation in configuration and building up some of the well-known security tools in some company. I don't know, DLP or XDR, NDR, or SOAR, maybe, I don't know. This kind of characteristics or this kind of portfolios are definitely providing much more experience to the candidates. And I would say that definitely it's very important to have this kind of, I mean, at least it will means much more to me than having this certification that you're mentioning.
Yeah. Alex,
on the other hand,
what about your hiring managers? What are they seeing as good? In terms, especially for juniors, as what are they seeing in terms of good personal projects?
Well, we are coming predominantly from the software development industry, so they are seeing it as a pet project, designing a website, let's say, designing a small software program. It doesn't need to be anything like complicated or anything like with a deep technical depth, because we don't expect that. But also we are looking for the proactivity, why you use this, how you use that. So for the people who are at the beginning of their career, as Dan said, put as much as possible pet projects in your CV, show us your GitHub profile. You will be able to give us more reasons why we should call you on an interview.
Makes sense. Makes sense. From where I'm sitting, I would like to hear a person that had installed virtual machines, that tried to build up a lab, that wrote a blog post, that, as you said, wrote something on, put some code on GitHub, and not just code on GitHub, maybe put it running somewhere. I know it sounds difficult. It really isn't. And it's a tremendous indicator that you're not just, especially this is for juniors, so you don't have to go into cybersecurity to enter cybersecurity. Running a set of virtual machines and a virtual network in your in your computers at home is an amazing amount of effort that actually built you up as an engineer, as a network engineer, as a system engineer. That tells me personally, that you can do this shit. And that's really how you enter. Somebody either knows that you can do that particular work, or somebody knows that you can do, or sees that you can do other work that is relevant. So make your own virtual machine, connect to cloud, connect to AWS. It has free services for a year. do something, do a demo, build it up, take a screenshot, write a blog post, even if it's too expensive for you to keep it live and running, you've already built up something that you can show and share with us. I think that is extremely valuable and sells you much more than the certification or the course that you took, because you did it with your own two hands. And with a bit of AI, I guess.
Find a way to stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's providing more like a proof that you have some hands-on experience and that you are understanding what is required from you practically. Even, for example, even penetration test, not making it, just reading it maybe and understanding it. For me, it's quite more important than having some kind of initial certification at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and also to add, make mistake, guys. Screw up a system.
Yeah.
I don't know, make something fall apart. You'll learn how not to do it.
Yeah, let
not with the production one, please.
Oh no. You must do it on production, and I'm going to say, let the first man that hasn't dropped a database throw the first stone. Because Alex, I don't know about you, but the engineers here, I guess that every single one of us has dropped the database or the equivalent of a database somewhere in production sometimes. If you haven't done your work. It's like riding a bicycle. If you tell me that you have never fell off a bicycle, you're either A, lying, or you're not riding a bicycle.
Yeah, there's no third option about it.
So moving not just from hiring perspective, now into a career type of two questions, I would say. First is, you are in cybersecurity. What about learning new things? For entry-level, mid-level, advanced, how should people approach and perceive continuous learning to stay relevant? Are there some methodologies that you have seen that work? Is it just an individual thing? Do you think that maybe the companies should support this? Dan?
Okay, I will start. So definitely, if you are the entry-level candidate, then you need to focus to start, as we said previously, you need to start networking fundamentals. So you need to focus on this broader picture, networking, sysadmin, protocol scripting, all these kind of things. Once you get to the middle level, let me say, to the middle expertise, then you need to go to start using these specific cybersecurity tools, focus on cloud security, blue teaming, red teaming, things, this kind of things. And then once you get to this point and going forward to the advanced stage, always need to stay in the path, in the right path. So definitely follow all the forums, all the events that are happening, kind of workbooks that are white papers that are generated.
And this is how you see, for the audience here, I'm sorry that I interrupted you, Dan, but I'm going to make a joke. This is how you see a person coming from a rich company. He said, go to events. So somebody's going to pay for your events. Not all companies do that.
Also, you should follow Bojdar podcasts.
Thanks.
And stay in line with the issue and with the cybersecurity world and happenings. So definitely to be all the time involved in the because it's a dynamic topic. Everything is changed in the cybersecurity world every day. So you need to follow all these kind of things.
Alex, I'm going to throw you a curveball. I know that HR is going to say that there is a program for education and there is a systematic program for education, continuous education, etc., etc. Let's be practical. How, as much as you can, obviously. How does it really work?
How does it really work? Well, it's my colleagues from HR can create the best programs, and if the person who is enrolled on those programs is not interested in doing them, we can just throw them into the garbage, right? But also on the other side, I am seeing a lot of people saying, well, I don't have time to learn. Like, I work 9 to 5. And there was a fight between me and my friends regarding it. And I'm like, no one who is like highly skilled and highly recognized learned while he was working, because those people normally they don't have time in the working hours to learn. So for me, it's like, again, personal. By it's always going to be different by person by person. For example, me, I don't read a lot of books. That's not my cup of tea. I'd rather read a short paragraph, a short article somewhere on the internet, which is very concise to a certain topic, or maybe even talking with the chat GPT about certain topic if I don't have a counterpart at that particular time. So it's like you need to keep your skills and knowledge up with the trends, because if you don't do that, the market will eat you. And if the market will eat you, you're losing your, let's say, value on the market.
Competitive edge.
It's not, yeah, you're losing the competitive edge, of course. So for me, it's like try to keep with the trends. However, it is the best for you. Sometimes might be through like work training programs, which I appreciate them a lot, but how much you would like to design a program for the general population, that's not going to work for every single person. Simply, it's not their cup of tea. So find a way. Again, learn, read, code, talk with the chat GPT. There's a lot of possible ways in today's world.
Okay, I'm going to wrap this one. So being in the industry for more or less 20 years in various functions, I can say this: you either keep up or you lose, because the people that are coming after you are younger, smarter, better educated, and have had more access to resources than you ever had. When I started 20 something years ago, we were one of the very few fortunate people to work in a company, Macedonian Telecom, that had enormous amount of resources available: physical servers, extra equipment, routers, operating systems. Everything was double and triple the necessary requirement, and we had a playground. We couldn't have had that at home. It was impossible at that point in time. Today you can register for free AWS and have more or less, or even more, resources at your disposal to try out new things, to learn new things. So obviously the next generation is going to be faster, smarter, and better educated and more prepared. So you need to keep learning on the topics that both Dan and Alex mentioned, how to learn, what to learn. I would suggest, and vibe coding here is not a joke. I need to learn vibe coding as a security officer. I now need to keep up with what my colleagues are actually using for their job. I need to do more or less the same thing so I can understand what they're passing through, so I can help them, so I can guide them, so I can at least be terrified of it and scream bloody murder and say, no, 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 we're not doing this because this and this and this and this. But I need to have the arguments. And in order for me to have the arguments, me, the other colleagues that I work with, we still need to do the work. So yes, learn. And from where I'm sitting, best recommendation that I can give, do the work. That's how you do learning. You don't have to code for production for your own product, but you do something small at your own time. As Alex said, you don't learn most of the stuff during the day job. If you do, you are in a great position and you have a great job because they have just allowed you to learn on the job. Keep that job. Other than that, you learn whenever you can and you learn at your own time. About practical programs, about structured programs, many companies have the structured programs for education. Unfortunately, they are defined at the start of the year or at the start of a budget period, whatever that may be, and they're fixed in place. And you can either take them or not take anything, which is sometimes great, sometimes not that great, especially if you suddenly decide that you need an extra layer of learning. Not many companies can switch that quickly. Realities of organizations, by budgeting, financing, and a bunch of other things, and contracts. So fortunately, today there is YouTube, there are a bunch of other resources, and again, as Alex said, talk to ChatGPT or to Claude or to whatever you want to work with. Try it yourself with your own two hands. That's the best way to learn. Did I miss anything on this one?
No, just to throw a few more things.
Yeah.
Make mistakes.
Make mistakes.
Because there is a saying like a skilled captain was not made by the smooth sea. And also another one, which is a myth. When you graduate, you're saying, well, I'm stopped with learning. No, you're not. You're going to keep doing it. And you're lying to yourself if you're saying that you're going to stop.
Yeah. So let's go and answer some questions now. We have questions. And people have voted actually, which is interesting. So let's do some questions right now. Let me just refresh it so we can see whether there are more votes.
I'm opening it on my screen as well.
Yeah, as well. So great. First question, most votes. Where should I look for or apply to cybersecurity jobs after finishing schools? Whoever wants to take
An
this
interesting one. An interesting one. It's always the companies will like put these cybersecurity jobs on their website. Unfortunately, recently I'm not seeing a lot of them. I need to be real with you guys. But also, don't try like to get inside the cybersecurity immediately. We just spent an hour talking how you can get into the cybersecurity. So there are many areas from where we can start and then gradually move to the cybersecurity part.
Dan?
Yeah, definitely. Each and every IT company, even telco company, again, that is dealing with information security, information systems in general, and can have the opportunity, can provide the opportunity to start dealing with any of these feeder positions that we have mentioned before. So once you start dealing with this, then you can very easily jump to the cybersec world. It's not because definitely we'll have this one step already done practically.
Yeah, I'm going to give a couple of hints for the people. So cybersecurity jobs in general, a lot of cybersecurity jobs are not advertised. They are filled in by recommendations, by personal recommendations. I know a guy or I know a girl that can do shit, and that person gets hired. That's a real situation that happens, and this is because cybersecurity is a lot about trust. It's not just about skill. So you need to trust that person. You need somebody to tell you you can rely on this person, because that person gets access and a lot of knowledge and a lot of very sensitive information in their hands. So it's also about trust. But that being said, there are openings, and I'm going to give two industries. One is the cybersecurity, let's say incident management or security operations center type of role, which is usually a very junior type of role where you just respond to incidents. That is sort of like a help desk, first level support. The bad news about that particular role is that it's in shifts and you can be woken up at 3 a.m. and people pressure you because there are hackers attacking you and whatever. So it's not a very pleasant role. It is a high turnover role. There is another vector for initial entry, and that's with the auditing companies. I mentioned IT auditor not being or being a junior role. I think that in this diagram here, the IT auditor position is actually that particular auditing company IT auditor. In major auditing companies, the IT auditor, there is an entire function of IT audit, and the most junior people are hired straight out of university mostly. And they train you, but they put you directly in the deep end. They are going to put you in front of a customer, and the customer doesn't like you because you're auditing them, and they won't give you all the information because you're auditing them and you're very young and they're very experienced. And how can you audit me when you don't know shit? Excuse my French, but you need to audit me, etc. So all these rants, you need to live through them. After 2 or 3 years of that, you are actually going to get very experienced extremely quickly and get a lot of soft skills and a lot of knowledge. Of course, you need to skill up and you need to work on the technical skills as well. But at the end of the day, those two paths are entry-level paths. You can start after finishing school directly, unless you get that unicorn position where somebody mentors you from university and you get to be a superhero very quickly. That really doesn't happen that often. But in the meantime, though, there are those two positions. Failing that, feeder roles, network management or network engineer, a backend developer, not front-end developer. backend developer. Why backend developer? Because you need to know databases, you need to know microservices, you need to know how to speak between server, etc., etc., etc. I'm not saying that front-end developers don't know this, but front-end developers are mostly focused on what is running on the browser, not what is running on the servers. So backend developer, DevOps, system administration. Great feeder roles, go for it. Next question.
Before we move to the next question, just to throw in something else in here. You've mentioned people referring people. That's one of the most trusted sources for every single recruiter, because you already know that the candidate is, let's say, 50% vetted for the certain role. And that's also, you already have any kind of initial knowledge about how this person will behave when he or she will become part of the company. So yeah, guys, sometimes roles are not getting advertised, but that means for you that you need to build up your network with the people from the industry in order to find those kind of roles.
Start networking. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. So next question, and this is a weird one, I must say. What is your comment on the topic of salaries, for which experts in Macedonia amount to more than 3,000 euros net? Okay.
Well,
Alex?
Okay. It's not something which is taboo. It's something which is like real in today's world. If you expect that you're gonna get a 3,000 euro salary for a entry level role, you're in the wrong place. No one will give it to you in the country. But the salaries are going up for certain roles who are about senior and above. I mean, senior level and above. That means that you'll have to spend at least 8 to 10 years within the industry before you're being able to show the knowledge to the business in order for the business to decide to give you this amount of money.
And coming back to this diagram here, you can see there is an average salary if you click on each one. These are in the United States. So just to show you, some of these salaries move far beyond the 3,000 net that somebody mentioned in the questions. That being said, IT today is a fairly global function, and cybersecurity as well. So you can work for a local company and get paid local market salary, or you can work for another country remotely and get paid completely different market salary. That also works. But as Alex said, whatever you do, expecting the next big payout doesn't happen overnight. You have to lose a lot of hair in order to get there. I'm not even saying that I get that amount of money, but it's not an unsubstantial amount of money for Macedonian standards, and not just for Macedonian, even for European standards. But there are industries and places in the world, and given enough time, you are going to get to that desired position. From where I'm sitting after 25 years of experience, is that going to fulfill you when you get it? That's a completely, let's say, philosophical question. So we'll wait for you to get there, and then you can answer that yourself. Dan, maybe a thought from you.
Well, what to say? I mean, these numbers are quite strange to me, to be honest. Definitely, maybe some higher managerial positions that are also covering not only cybersecurity, but also usually they're covering also some other areas. And then it's kind of combination where you can get maybe this range of salary. I know that the IT companies in the country somehow changed this landscape for the salaries in general for the IT people.
That's because they can do remote.
Yeah, of course. But definitely on the other hand, at least I'm considering ourselves as a local company, definitely. I mean, also IT companies are local, but as you said, you're working remotely. This kind of salary can be expected only for the higher levels.
Yeah. So next question, I think we already answered this one. Developing knowledge in cyber. Does the employee need to develop only after working hours, or a balance of 6+2 is a good position? I think we already explained this in great detail, but to summarize, if a company allows you to do this during work hours, that's a great position. Keep it. Otherwise, do whatever you need to do to keep learning, because it may not be just for the current company, it is for you and for your next opportunity.
That depends from the
also,
present employer, practically.
Yeah.
If he provides you time to learn, then you can learn
And
use
just
it.
keep it then. Then you're in a good place. Definitely.
Yeah, but even if your employer allows you to learn, still you can keep learning afterwards. More hours means more experience.
Yeah,
More experience means higher roles. Higher roles means higher salary. So it's a circle.
Yeah. So, Alex, how hard it is to find cybersecurity engineers in Macedonia?
Very hard. I can expand, but the simple answer is very hard. It's very hard. First of all, because there are not so many companies who are like practicing cybersecurity, and that can be from many different aspects, because some of those companies who are present on the Macedonian market, they are not allowed to have cybersecurity experts outside of their like headquarters, maybe due to the certain access to the data that the people will have. So right now at the moment, it's very hard to find very good cybersecurity engineers within the country. That's one side. And the other side, if you find them, they'll be expensive as hell because, as you said, Božidar, they're working remotely for big companies, to which sometimes we simply can't compete. And it's not viable to compete with those ones because you are destroying a whole structure that you have created as a company inside it.
It's a market. And then that's an opportunity for the company to start developing internal resources.
Yes, definitely.
So with Dejan, for your as a hiring manager, how hard?
To be honest, I think that the interest for this area is quite big.
Mhm.
If you go with the public announcement, you will definitely receive a lot of CVs. In most cases, they are appropriate for the junior positions. I mean, practically for positions for the people that are willing to start to work with the cybersec. For something more advanced, definitely, as I said, this is somehow decided by these IT companies who are making this cybersecurity landscape.
And I'm going to skip on that, touch on that really, and connect to that, not to the next, but to the question below that, which is how do you? No, where was it? Why there is no? Actually, it was the next question. Why is there no structured, defined path and steps to career in cybersecurity? And that connects me back to what Dejan just said. You can't find the experienced people very easily. Cybersecurity is huge because it actually touches on any particular element in any particular company. And there are so many different specific industries, platforms, organizations, systems that need to be addressed, that you just can't specialize in everything. So there is no structured defined path. You just move either laterally or progress to a different position, but you always try to specialize in some subset of an area, whether it is, let's say, AWS. Cybersecurity expert in AWS is not a cybersecurity expert, not in the same level as a dedicated cybersecurity expert for Azure or for Oracle Cloud or for GCP. They are all cloud, but they all have different methodologies and techniques and rule sets. So yes, you will understand, but you need to specialize. And that's completely different from for an on-prem situation or for a large versus small company, physically located in one position, in one location company versus globally distributed company. So all these specifics, there are so many of them, not to mention Internet of Things and industrial systems, which are a specialization in themselves. So there is way too much stuff. You can start with a good junior position, start learning for stuff, and as you progress, you just become more and more specialized. And then when a company comes in to find to hire a senior position, they need a specialized person. They may find that particular specialization, and that person is going to be extremely expensive because there are not too many of them. Or you're going to find somebody who doesn't have that particular specialization, and then Alex is going to have a talk to the hiring manager whether they really want to have the AWS or Azure is good enough. I think that covers everything, but guys, join in.
Yeah, definitely covers most of it. And as you said at the end, I need to speak with the hiring manager to see what's realistic, and also the hiring manager to have the expectations in what can be found on the market. Because we've touched on the like unicorns part. We would like to find the unicorns, but most of the time they don't exist. So yeah, we need to go with something else.
Dejan?
Nothing to say new. I mean, definitely, as we said, practically the what you can find on the market is usually people that are willing to start working with this topic. But as for some seniority, definitely, at least on this market.
So next two questions, I think, are the last ones, and we can bind them together. They're saying, what are your companies doing in order to hire and train new people? And then recently, the industry has focused on hiring more experienced candidates. And then how do you train your people to make sure they have the right competence? So hiring and training, and why are we hiring? Why is somebody hiring experienced candidates?
Okay, so I would like to start on this one because this is like my everyday life in here. When you see the broader industry globally, it's more focused right now on like laying off people, cutting on the cost, and trying to save some money. So speaking about why they're hiring seniors, it's first of all because there are a lot of available people on the senior level on the market globally, not just locally. And second of all, it comes back to the one we talked about: how many people a company can absorb at the beginning of their career. I must mention my company because every single year we are doing a boot camp, and it's a dedicated program for the people who are actually want to join the IT industry. We still don't have like a cybersecurity roles, but depending each year on what kind of needs we do have, we're advertising the entry-level roles. And I'm happy to say that this year we're going to absorb 16 new people on that particular program. How the program looks like? They'll have a 3 months intensive program for where they're going to learn everything about the software development life cycle. And afterwards, we're going to start throwing them a little bit into the fire so they start seeing real problems. So this is the way how we work, but how other companies are doing it, maybe Dan can tell us from his perspective.
No, definitely we are providing some opportunity for the employees to start to attend some trainings, courses, and these kind of things. Usually they're choosing by their own, and of course, depends on the commercial conditions and possibilities and budgets and everything. However, the trainings are always available. Even to be honest, at least for these positions that we are covering, I mean, there you always have this Udemy or LinkedIn trainings which are present and which are available to our employees, and there are a lot of cybersecurity trainings over there. Definitely, whoever has interest can attend them, can visit them. But as I said, we are providing this kind of opportunities. Also, there are always some kind of trainings that are provided even by the government, to be honest, at least for this governance part. And yes, we are providing at least some kind of conditions in order to develop and to progress in the career and to develop the knowledge deeper.
Okay, a different perspective from where I'm sitting. Obviously, much larger organizations, different structures, etc. In the companies where I work, fairly smaller companies, where we do it a bit differently. We choose an intern or a couple of interns, and they get a mentor. And that mentor is usually extremely senior and extremely difficult to work with, and they're going to be thrown in the fire day one. And they're going to learn a lot because that person is going to work with them all the time and try to give all the knowledge and share everything and rant for a long time and get them to try to do this and that and all various other things and get them to break into shit or try to create something. So it is a different type of experience, but at the end of the day, the end result is the same. Whether it's more systematic or less systematic, it just depends on the structure of the organization and maybe the philosophy of everything. Why it is very rare for where I'm sitting to get such opportunities is because those senior people need to have the time. and that is not easily found. So much larger organization can absorb this because they can distribute it across multiple very senior people. Smaller organization, not that many people, everybody's busy. You can get all the hands-on experience and probably learn a lot more, but those chances are fairly few and far between because just the people that need to work with you don't have the time. So one item that just popped up, and I think that we can quickly wipe it out off the board, is you're talking about courses. Are you implying on Cisco official courses, online courses, or CEMOS type courses? So I'm going to say this. First of all, CEMOS, I think, provides official Cisco and Microsoft courses as well. So the reference doesn't really make sense. But from where I'm sitting, a course is a course. Today, there are so many courses that we can't really evaluate whether one is better than the other one. Yes, there are official or not official. Official courses make a lot of sense if you're using that particular product or system or platform. Other than that, the others are more general, and they're courses. From where I sit, we talked about courses. They're a good intro. They're a good introduction. Obviously, if you go through entire CI, help me out, Dan. What was the highest level of certification in Cisco?
SSP, I believe, something like that.
There was something, but that's not just a course. That's an entire certification with a bunch of tests and a very painful testing process. So that's a different thing. Just listening to a course, I don't care.
I do remember what was the highest one. It's a CCIE, and there is also a designation inside it for what you're doing,
but
routing
that's
and
a certification,
switching and those kind of things.
Not a course. That's a certification.
No, but there is, as far as I know, the certification, when you have to do the certification, as I have been told, the last exam is like 8 hours within a laboratory where you need to create all of it. So
it's huge. So course as a course doesn't matter much. And I dislike this reference towards one being lesser than the other one. It's a course. You take away from it what you learn from it. Other than that, I don't see it as much of a difference. Maybe Dan has some perspective on this.
As you said, I mean, the course can always be passed, but definitely hands-on is always the last thing that you need, I mean, and what needs to be developed.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, I would like to thank you for joining us. And as a final question of the evening, I'm going to ask each of you to tell me, is cybersecurity a good career choice?
Yeah, it will be even better because I believe that it will still develop a lot because we are seeing a lot of new things happening within the IT world. It doesn't matter if it's like cybersecurity, where there's a lot of things happening in the AI world. So I believe that cybersecurity people will be even more valuable when they're going to need to start fighting with the AI, because I'm looking forward to some AI tools that will start like poking the systems or trying to find a way how to crash a system down. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Dan?
Yeah, definitely. Cybersecurity definitely is a good career choice. But as we already concluded, I mean, definitely it's a new area that has been developed in the past several years. I mean, at least for me, it's a new area, become popular in the past few years. But what it can offer definitely, because I think that's why it's popular, because the salaries are and the requirements are quite big on the market, on each market, all over I'm speaking. It also has some progression paths, but definitely it also demands some permanent learning, consistent following the track and staying on track with all the issues in this world. Some mental resilience and also some ethical responsibility, ethical characteristics that each and every cybersecurity has to have in order to stay on this area.
Okay.
So as I said, it's a good opportunity. It's very popular. Maybe it is because it's new, maybe because the salaries are quite good, at least in this area. But it's not very different from system administration or networking. Is just some looking from the other point of view on the same issues and the same problematics.
Yeah. So I'm going to take this one as a final answer to myself, and I'm going to say it's not for everyone. It's a good career if you're ready for it, but otherwise it's a fairly tedious and very stressful career. I know that, and I have been talking to young people that are interested in cybersecurity because a lot of them have been watching Mr. Robot. Unfortunately, Mr. Robot is not a real perception of what cybersecurity is. Yes, it's cool to be a hacker. Or is it really? It's cool to be known as a hacker. But even hackers and penetration testers, believe me, spend the majority of their time being bored out of their pants because they're waiting for some script to run and finish that has been running for the past 17 hours. And they are just thinking whether the automation on the defensive side is just going to block them or it's just sending them garbage. And apart from that part, the rest of the jobs in cybersecurity are you need to the best thing that you can provide as a deliverable in cybersecurity is no news. So the best news is no news. You don't get a win. You get a lot of loss when there is an incident and everybody starts blaming what have you been doing? But when everything is great, no, you can't take the win because it's just business as usual. So that's the reality of how things work in cybersecurity. There is a lot of pushback. There is a lot of stress. There is a lot of political effort, not as a politics, but as office politics, as persuading people, managing people, explaining things to people that are not reporting directly to you, so you can't order them to do something. So there is a lot of that. So if you really like cybersecurity, and it's not just you've been watching Mr. Robot or whatever, it is a great career. It is a career where you need to learn a lot of the new things, and you will get to learn a lot of new things because you need to solve a lot of new issues or think about them. But other than that, it's a fairly stressful, difficult career, and you need to be ready for it. So for everyone that's ready for it, they're welcome, and I think that they will find their way through the cybersecurity career base, and they will break that firewall. Gentlemen, Dejan and Aleksandar Radicheski, Dejan Zendelov, Aleksandar Radicheski, thank you for being my guests. Thanks for talking to me for an hour and a half. Any last words from you towards our audience?
Yeah, well, it was a pleasure to be part of this podcast. I'm looking forward to maybe more from your end. We're going to discuss other topics maybe, but yeah, it was nice. I hope we helped the people that were watching us to get the answers that they need. And otherwise, feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. At least I'm going to say that I don't have issues with it. If you need any additional questions, if you have it, pop it up. We're going to try to find answers.
Yeah. Dan?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you also from my side for inviting us and for hosting us on this podcast. Also, as Alex mentioned, I hope that we somehow at least help for the interested participants in this podcast, listeners podcast to decide about their future, or to decide at least about their future cybersecurity area.
Yeah. Thanks again for joining me, and we are signing off for this week. I hope people like us and liked this particular podcast. Subscribe for more, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Gotovi